of the violence in Syria. We are proud that we were the first to say and stress that what is happening in Syria is not a revolution for democracy or equality. It was not an uprising for peaceful masses against a totalitarian regime. We stressed, and we were right to stress, that Syria is paying the price for standing up against US and Israeli bid to absolutely control the world and steal the wealth of nations. We said from the first days that Syria currently pays for its stance to ally with Lebanese and Palestinian resistance against Israeli aggression and US new Middle East plan. Such plan that aims to divide the Middle East further to guarantee Israeli future and security after its existence became doubtful after the defeats in 2006 and 2009. We were right to say that Syria will draw the future of the whole world. And we were right to say that Syria and its allies will win. And they are winning. When we visited Damascus last December, we heard from Syrian President Dr. Bashar al-Assad clear words. He was very sure about victory against terrorism. I was sure also. But we heard another words, not only from the President, but also from Prime Minister and other ministers. We heard that Syria was subjected to systematic destruction by terrorists, supported by many imperialist forces around the world. The President and the ministers were very clear. Syria will need all its friends around the world in the process of rebuilding. And this is why we are holding this event tonight. We heard from the Minister for Health that 1/3 of hospitals were destroyed. More than 70% of pharmaceutical factories were either destroyed or ransacked. Syria was producing more than 90% of its needs of medicines and medical supplies. Now there are more than 65 different medicines are not available in Syria and needed to be imported. The sanctions on Syria prevent the state from importing enough medicines and medical supplies. This is why the latest WHO report drew bleak picture about the health system after it was one of the best in the region. And this is why we decided to hold such event to fundraise some money to buy medicines and medical supplies to Syria. It's also a message of solidarity with the Syrians, victims of terrorism for more than 3 years now. We know that the couple of thousands of dollars we could raise now is very little comparing to the dire situation in Syria. But it is one step forward. It's also a step to encourage others here or in other countries around the world to take similar steps. The resilient people of Syria we met last December made me feel very ashamed of myself. They asked us why we came late. Why did we allow these barbaric pre-civilization terrorists to do what they did to Syria? This is why I personally, despite the many efforts I took which subjected me to death threats and physical attacks, felt ashamed and determined to do all what I can do to compensate for our failure to help Syrians effectively. And I urge all of you today to donate as much as you can. There will be raffle tickets and other fundraising efforts later. Syrians need you desperately. The destruction is beyond any imagination, and the needs are very huge. We will ensure that every cent you donate will reach Syrians. We will ensure that your support we will ensure that with your support, delegation after delegation will visit Syria to show support and oppose terrorism. We will ensure you that we will not spare any efforts until Syria is safe and back to normal as it was before the 15th of March 2011. But we need you to do all this now and in the future. Lastly, I want to mention that I went to Syria last December to encourage people and raise their morale. But what we witnessed is the opposite. Syrians were giving us lessons of resilience and were trying to raise our morale. This is why I could not stop crying on several occasions. While in Syria, I have expressed directly to the Syrian government our gratitude for their legendary resistance of the Western destructive conspiracy. We want anyone here from Syria to feel proud that their homeland could defeat all these evil forces and aborted the war to steep into darkness of total savage control of US and its NATO. You should be proud that your homeland not only taught the humanity how to read and write few thousand years ago, but it taught the whole world how to stand up and defeat savage superpower. We are sure that the final victory is very near. With this victory, we believe that the whole world will be changed. But the battle to rebuild Syria will start, and Syria will need all of us in this process. And I encourage you to dig deep to help Syrians and follow our future announcement of future plans to help in these efforts. Long live Syria, and thank you for coming today.
النصر بيد الود